Hey everybody, it's Forrest after dark again. The wife and son are down for the night in bed. It is currently 11:37 p.m. on Tuesday, April 28th, and I'm just kind of mulling over a scene that I've been working on slowly but surely in my current book. The second book in the Cyberpunk trilogy, first book called The Glass God, link in the description below on Amazon. And it's interesting because I've actually been doing a bit of research, and this is actually kind of the core of the subject that I wanted to cover in this video. I've been doing research in order to do certain parts of your stories that are accurate to, real life stuff. You want to do research so that you actually know what you're writing about, that you're able to portray it accurately. Apologize for the noises in the background. That's our little mobile dishwasher. So I've been doing some research on the psychology and the the psychology around toxic relationships. Mainly how the toxic person in the relationship acts in an accurate way. Like how do they speak? How do they act? Like what are the types of things they might say? And how can you frame it in a way where it's subtle but still very clearly there? The evidence is very much clearly there without them saying things that are just like, really, really obvious, makes them out to be like a cartoon villain. I did tackle some aspects of like toxic relationships in the first book, and I'll admit I didn't really do a whole lot of research, on that stuff. I never got any complaints from people that I wasn't, portraying that accurately, so that's good. But one of the things about being a writer and a storyteller is that even when you think that you've learned everything you need to learn when it comes to good writing, you keep teaching yourself to do better and better. So in the second book, there are aspects of a toxic relationship, different from a romantic one too. So there's a bit more challenge there. And I learned what are certain keywords that toxic people might say in an argument with the person that they're essentially abusing. What are their behaviors like? What are their behaviors? How do they talk and stuff like that? And trying to figure out how to make it so that it's subtle instead of cartoony. So yeah, it's interesting because again, we can tell a whole lot of different kinds of stories. They say write what you know, but I do make an argument in the first book that if you only seclude yourself to only writing exactly what you know and nothing more, like everything that you know when you sit down and write a story, that's actually really, really limiting. Obviously, I don't know everything that there would be to know about living in a cyberpunk world. But I'm writing a story set in a cyberpunk setting anyway. And I do know, unfortunately, I do know a couple of things about, being around people in my past, being around people who were toxic, maybe even slightly abusive. So I can kind of take a little bit of what I know from personal experience there and apply it to the things that I learned by doing this research. There's nothing wrong with doing research for your stories. There's nothing wrong with, learning as you write, kind of educating yourself on certain things so that you can, when you write the story, you can present these aspects in the most accurate way possible. So yeah, just something I thought I would share with you guys tonight. If you're a writer, if you're currently working on a book, and there are certain things that there are certain aspects or certain areas in the story where you need to learn more in order to present it as accurately as possible for, the sake of believability, don't be afraid to do the research. It can be fun. It might be a little bit time consuming, but it's well worth it. So that's all I got for tonight. Join me tomorrow night for my next entry. Like and subscribe. Excuse me, lots going on in the throat. And I will see you guys next time.